The space around Earth's solar system had been quiet for decades. Ships came and went from the outer mining stations, carrying supplies and workers to the asteroid belt. Nobody expected what happened on that Tuesday morning when the stars seemed to shift. Admiral Kang Dae-ho was drinking his morning coffee on the bridge of the Terra's shield when the alarms started screaming. The massive warship floated in the darkness between Mars and Jupiter, watching over the trade routes like it had done for years. Dae-ho set down his cup and walked to the main screen. "What do we have?" he asked Commander Park Hyo-jin, who was already checking the sensors. "Sir, we have multiple contacts dropping out of hyperspace at the system edge," Hyo-jin said. Her voice stayed calm, but Dae-ho could hear the worry underneath. "The computer is still counting them." The main screen showed dots of light appearing one after another. First dozens, then hundreds, then thousands. Each dot represented a ship bigger than anything humans had ever built. The alien vessels were huge, dark shapes that blocked out the stars behind them. "How many?" Dae-ho asked. 50,000 ships, sir. Maybe more. They're all massive." Dae-ho had fought in 3 wars and seen every kind of enemy ship humans had faced. These were different. These ships were built for one thing, destroying entire worlds. Each vessel was the size of a small moon, covered in weapons that could crack planets in half. On Luna, Dr. Lee Sang-woo watched the same display from his research station. The alien fleet moved in perfect formation, like a school of deadly fish swimming through space. Sang-woo had studied alien races for 20 years. He knew the signs of a species that had never lost a battle. The communication systems across the solar system came alive with a single transmission. The alien voice spoke in perfect English, though it sounded like metal scraping against stone. "Humans of the 3rd planet. We are the Velthari Empire. We have conquered 1,000 worlds. Your world will be the 1,001st. The transmission showed holographic images of burning cities and broken planets, worlds reduced to ash and rubble, entire species wiped from existence. You will surrender your planet within 24 hours. You will gather your population in designated areas. You will offer no resistance. If you comply, some of you may survive as workers. If you resist, all will perish." The transmission ended. The alien fleet began moving toward Earth, slow but steady. They were in no hurry. They had done this before. On Earth's surface, Captain Kim Min-ho received emergency orders from military headquarters. Cities around the world began activating their emergency systems. Warning sirens echoed through the streets of Seoul, New York, and London. People looked up at the sky, wondering what was coming. "Sir, should we begin full evacuations?" asked Lieutenant Choi Yun-soo. She was young, maybe 25, and had never seen real combat. "Standard procedures only," Min-ho replied. "Move people to the shelters, but keep it calm. No panic." The truth was that most people had no idea how well Earth could defend itself. The civilian population knew about the Terra's shield and a few other warships. They knew about the orbital defense platforms around Earth and Mars. What they didn't know about was the other 90% of humanity's military power. Back on the Terra's shield, Admiral Dae-ho called a meeting with his senior officers. The ship's conference room was small and simple, with metal walls and basic furniture. No fancy decorations or comfortable chairs. Everything on the ship was built for war. "Options?" Dae-ho asked. "We could evacuate the inner planets," suggested one officer. "Pull back to the outer colonies, and let them have Earth." Commander Hyo-jin shook her head. "Sir, we've spent 40 years building the defense network." "This is what it was made for." Dae-ho nodded. The defense network was humanity's greatest secret. Hidden bases scattered throughout the solar system. Weapons platforms disguised as asteroids. Technology that most humans didn't even know existed. "What about negotiation?" asked another officer. Dr. Lee's voice came through the communication system from Luna. "I've been studying their transmissions. These aliens don't negotiate. Look at the worlds they've shown us. They don't take prisoners or make deals. They come, they destroy, they take what they want." The alien fleet continued moving toward Earth. Their ships stayed in tight formation, confident and arrogant. They had destroyed so many worlds that they expected no real resistance. Humans were just another primitive species to be crushed. Commander Hyo-jin pulled up the tactical display. Red dots showed the alien ships moving through the outer solar system. Blue dots showed human ships scattered throughout the area. The numbers looked hopeless. 50,000 alien warships against maybe 100 human vessels. But the display didn't show everything. Hidden throughout the solar system were weapon platforms that had cost humanity decades to build. Antimatter generators buried in asteroids, energy collectors wrapped around entire moons. Technology inspired by one simple idea. If someone comes to destroy Earth, make sure they regret it, sir, Yojin said quietly. The alien fleet will cross the outer defense perimeter in 18 hours. Daeho looked at the display showing Earth. The blue and green planet looked so small and peaceful from space. Billions of people lived down there. Children playing in parks, families having dinner, students going to school, all of them counting on people like him to keep them safe. The alien commander sent another transmission. This time it showed images of human cities from orbit. The aliens had been watching Earth for some time, studying human defenses. They knew about the orbital platforms and the warships. They had calculated the odds and decided humans posed no real threat. Your defensive capabilities are primitive, the alien voice said. Your weapons cannot penetrate our shields. Your ships are too few and too small. Surrender now and avoid unnecessary suffering. The transmission cut off. The alien fleet kept moving toward Earth, ready to add another world to their collection of conquered planets. They had no idea what they were really facing. No idea that humanity had been preparing for this day since the first time humans looked up at the stars and wondered what else was out there. In hidden bases throughout the solar system, weapon systems began their final checks. Engineers made last-minute adjustments to targeting computers. Soldiers took their positions at control stations. Everyone waited for the order that would change everything. The countdown to Earth's defense had begun. 22 hours had passed since the alien fleet arrived. The massive ships moved closer to Earth with every minute, their dark hulls blocking out more stars. On the Terra's shield, Admiral Kang Daeho stood before the main communication console. The time for Earth's final message had come. Ambassador Yoon Ji-woo appeared on screens throughout the solar system. She sat in a simple chair in Earth's orbital command center, wearing a plain blue uniform. No fancy decorations or military medals, just a calm woman about to deliver the most important message in human history. This is Ambassador Yoon Ji-woo, speaking for the United Earth government, she began. Her voice was steady and clear. To the fleet that calls itself the Velthari Empire, you have entered our solar system without permission. You have threatened our world and our people. The alien commander responded immediately. His holographic image appeared on human screens across the system. He was tall and thin with gray skin and 4 arms. His eyes were completely black like empty holes in space. You dare to give us warnings? The alien's voice was filled with amusement. We have destroyed civilizations that lasted for millions of years. We have weapons that can crack planets like eggs. What could you possibly do to threaten us? Ambassador Yoon looked directly into the camera. This is your final opportunity to turn around and leave our system peacefully. We will not warn you again. The alien commander actually laughed. The sound came through the speakers like breaking glass. Your world has been scanned. We know your capabilities. You have perhaps 100 small warships, a few orbital defense platforms, weapons that cannot even scratch our armor. Other alien officers could be seen on their bridge pointing at human ships and laughing. They had fought thousands of species across the galaxy. Humans looked like all the others, weak, frightened, and helpless. We have conquered races with 10 times your military strength, the alien commander continued. We have burned worlds protected by energy shields that covered entire continents. Your planet will fall in less than 1 day. On Mars, engineer Nam Tae-kyung made final adjustments to systems the aliens couldn't detect. Hidden deep under the planet's surface were power generators larger than cities. Fusion reactors that had been built over decades using the best technology humanity could create. The weapon platforms scattered throughout the asteroid belt looked like normal rocks. The aliens had scanned them dozens of times and found nothing suspicious. But inside each fake asteroid were antimatter weapons that could destroy entire fleets. Colonel Bae Soo-jin watched from a hidden base near Jupiter. Her screen showed the alien fleet in perfect detail. Every ship was tracked. Every weapon system was mapped. The aliens thought they were hunters, but they had become prey. They're maintaining tight formation, Soo-jin reported to Admiral Daeho. All ships within a 50-kilometer sphere. Perfect target grouping. The alien commander sent another transmission to Earth. This time he showed recordings from other conquered worlds. Cities burning under alien weapons, populations being loaded onto slave ships, entire planets stripped bare of resources. This is the fate of all who resist the Velthari Empire, he said. Your species will serve us or your species will die. There is no third option. Dr. Lee Sang-woo studied the alien transmissions from his station on Luna. The Velthari had used the same tactics on every world they conquered. Overwhelming force, no negotiation, complete destruction of any resistance. They've never faced real opposition, Lee told Admiral Dae-ho over the secure communication link. Every species they fought was weaker than them. They don't know how to handle an equal fight. Equal? Dae-ho asked. Sir, based on what I'm seeing, we outgunned them by at least 50-1. They just don't know it yet. The alien fleet continued moving toward Earth. They passed the outer marker buoys that marked the edge of human space. The buoys broadcast clear warnings in dozens of languages, including Velthari. The aliens ignored them all. On Earth's surface, Captain Kim Min-ho coordinated the movement of civilians to underground shelters. Most people thought they were hiding from alien weapons. They didn't know the shelters were built to protect them from the flash of human weapons firing. How long until the defense network is ready? Min-ho asked over his radio. All systems are active and waiting, came the reply. We can fire at any time. Lieutenant Choi Yun-soo watched the alien fleet through telescopes mounted on tall buildings. The ships were close enough now to see without magnification. Dark shapes moving against the stars like hungry wolves. They're so big, she whispered. Size doesn't matter in space, Min-ho replied. A big target is just easier to hit. The aliens sent their final ultimatum as their fleet moved past the orbit of Mars. You have 2 hours to surrender. Prepare your population for processing. Any resistance will be met with complete destruction. Ambassador Yoon appeared on screens one more time. You were warned, she said simply. You chose not to listen. The alien commander laughed again. What can you possibly do? Your entire fleet couldn't destroy one of our ships. We are protected by energy shields that have never been breached. We carry weapons that can split continents. Perhaps, Ambassador Yoon said calmly, but you made one mistake. And what is that, human? You assumed we would fight fair. The transmission ended. The alien fleet moved past the final warning beacons and entered the inner solar system. They were now inside humanity's defense perimeter, surrounded by weapons they couldn't see or understand. Engineer Nam finished the last system check from his bunker on Mars. All platforms report ready. Power levels at maximum. Targeting solutions locked. Colonel Soo-jin tracked every alien ship from her Jupiter base. Fleet formation unchanged. They suspect nothing. Admiral Dae-ho looked at the tactical display one last time. 50,000 alien warships moving in perfect formation toward Earth. They had ignored every warning, dismissed every offer of peace, chosen to threaten the one thing humanity would never allow to be destroyed. Sir, Commander Park Hyo-jin said quietly, the alien fleet has crossed the final defense line. Dae-ho nodded. The Velthari Empire had conquered 1,000 worlds. They had destroyed countless species. They had built their power on the fear and suffering of others, but they had never faced humanity when humanity decided to fight. Send the activation code to all defense platforms, Dae-ho ordered. Authorization Omega 77. Throughout the solar system, weapon platforms that had waited decades for this moment began their final preparations. The aliens had been warned. They had been given every chance to leave peacefully. Now they would learn what happened when someone threatened Earth. The alien fleet crossed humanity's final defense line like a dark cloud blocking out the stars. 50,000 warships moved in perfect formation toward Earth, their commanders confident and relaxed. They had done this many times before. Admiral Kang Dae-ho stood on the bridge of the Terra's shield, watching the tactical display. Red dots showed the alien ships moving deeper into the solar system. They were now completely surrounded by humanity's hidden weapons, but they didn't know it yet. All platforms report ready, sir, Commander Park Hyo-jin said from her station. Her fingers moved across the control panel, checking system after system. Everything showed green lights. The alien commander sent another transmission to Earth. His holographic image appeared on the main screen, still laughing and confident. Humans, you have 1 hour remaining. Prepare your surrender or prepare to die. We grow tired of your meaningless words. Dae-ho walked to the communication console. It was time to give the order that would change everything. This is Admiral Kang Dae-ho to all defense platforms. Execute Sentinel Protocol. Authorization code Omega 77. Fire when ready. Throughout the solar system, humanity's greatest secret began to reveal itself. Near Jupiter, massive orbital platforms shimmered into view as their cloaking system shut down. The structures were enormous, each one the size of a major city. They had been hidden in space for decades, waiting for this moment. Around Saturn's rings, more weapon platforms appeared. They had been disguised as research stations and mining operations. Even the aliens' detailed scans had missed them completely. In the asteroid belt, hundreds of rocks suddenly split open to reveal antimatter cannons. The fake asteroids had fooled every alien sensor. Now they showed their true purpose. On Mars, engineer Nam Tae-kyung watched his control screens light up with activity. Deep underground, fusion reactors that had been running quietly for years suddenly increased their power output. Energy levels climbed higher and higher. Power output at 800% and rising. Nam reported to Admiral Daeho. All weapon systems charging normally. The alien fleet suddenly stopped moving. Their sensors had finally detected what was happening around them. Energy readings were spiking throughout the solar system. Weapon platforms were appearing from empty space. The humans had been hiding their true strength. Impossible. The alien commander screamed over the communication channel. Our scans showed nothing. Where did these weapons come from? Dr. Lee Sang-woo smiled from his station on Luna. 40 years of preparation, he said quietly. Every mining operation, every research station, every trade mission. We've been building this defense network since the day we first detected alien signals. The Velthari ships tried to change formation, but it was too late. They were trapped inside a sphere of human weapons. Every direction they could move was covered by antimatter cannons and energy beams. Colonel Bae Soo-jin watched from her command center near Jupiter as targeting computers locked onto every alien ship. The systems were so advanced they could track individual crew members inside the enemy vessels. "Sir, we have targeting solutions on all 50,000 ships," she reported. "Every vessel is locked and ready for firing." The alien commander was no longer laughing. His forearms moved frantically across his control panel as he tried to understand what was happening. His ships were surrounded by weapons more advanced than anything in their empire. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "You are a primitive species. Your technology is centuries behind ours." Ambassador Yoon Ji-woo appeared on the alien commander's screen one last time. She sat calmly in her chair looking directly at the alien leader. "You made the same mistake every bully makes," she said. "You assumed that quiet meant weak." The alien ships powered up their energy shields. The protective barriers flared to life around each vessel, glowing bright blue against the darkness of space. The Velthari shields had never been broken by any weapon they had faced. "Our shields are impenetrable," the alien commander shouted. "Your primitive weapons cannot harm us." Engineer Nam watched his energy readings climb even higher. The fusion reactors were now operating at levels that would have been impossible just years earlier. Human technology had advanced in secret, hidden from alien eyes. "Antimatter weapons fully charged," Nam reported. "Ready to fire on your command, Admiral." The alien commander tried one last desperate move. He ordered his ships to fire on the nearest human weapon platform. Thousands of alien weapons opened up, sending streams of energy toward a platform near Jupiter. The human defense platform's shields absorbed the alien attack without any damage. The energy weapons that had destroyed countless worlds couldn't even scratch humanity's defenses. "Impossible," the alien commander whispered. Admiral Daeho looked at the tactical display one final time. 50,000 enemy ships were targeted and locked. Human weapons were charged and ready. The aliens had been given every chance to leave peacefully. "Sir," Commander Hyojin said, "all platforms report ready to fire." On Earth's surface, Captain Kim Min-ho made sure all civilians were safely in their shelters. The underground bunkers could protect millions of people from the energy flash that was coming. "All civilians secured," Min-ho reported. "Underground shelters sealed and ready." Lieutenant Choi Yoon-soo watched from a military bunker as the sky above Earth filled with light. The alien ships were trying to retreat, but they were moving too slowly. They were trapped inside humanity's defense sphere with no way out. Dr. Lee made final calculations from Luna. "Sir, the alien fleet is now at optimal range. All ships are within the targeting grid." The alien commander sent one last transmission to Earth. For the first time, his voice showed fear instead of confidence. "Wait, we can negotiate. The Velthari Empire is willing to discuss terms." Ambassador Yoon shook her head. "You had your chance to negotiate. You chose threats instead. You chose violence instead of peace. Now you live with the consequences." Admiral Daeho walked to the center of the bridge. Every human in the solar system was watching. Every weapon platform was ready. The moment that would define humanity's place in the galaxy had arrived. The alien ships tried desperately to escape, but they were surrounded. Their formations broke apart as panic spread through their ranks. Ships that had conquered 1,000 worlds were suddenly running in terror from a species they had dismissed as primitive. All platforms, Admiral Deho said calmly, "You are authorized to fire." The order went out across the solar system to every hidden weapon platform. 40 years of preparation were about to be unleashed in a single moment. The Velthari Empire was about to learn what happened when someone threatened Earth. The order to fire traveled through the solar system at the speed of light. Every hidden weapon platform received Admiral Kang Deho's command at exactly the same moment. 40 years of preparation and planning came together in a single instant. Around Jupiter, the massive orbital platforms adjusted their aim one final time. The targeting computers had tracked every alien ship for hours, calculating their exact positions down to the centimeter. There would be no misses. Engineer Nam Tae-kyung watched his control screens from deep inside Mars. Power levels from the fusion reactors climbed to maximum output. Energy that could power entire cities for years was focused into weapons that could destroy fleets. All systems green, Nam reported over the communication network. Antimatter weapons at full charge. The alien commander realized what was about to happen. His ships tried to scatter in all directions, breaking their tight formation for the first time. But it was too late. They had stayed grouped together too long. Evasive maneuvers, the alien commander screamed at his fleet. "All ships break formation. Emergency jump to hyperspace!" But the human weapons were faster than alien reflexes. The targeting systems had been locked onto their targets for hours. Every ship was tracked, every movement predicted. At exactly 14:32:07 Earth Standard Time, humanity's defense network fired. Beams of pure antimatter erupted from hundreds of weapon platforms throughout the solar system. The energy streams were invisible to the naked eye, but they carried more destructive power than anything the galaxy had ever seen. The antimatter beams moved at 90% of light speed. They crossed the distance to the alien fleet in microseconds. The Velthari ships had no time to react, no time to dodge, no time to escape. Admiral Deho watched the tactical display as the first beams reached their targets. The alien ship's energy shields flared bright white as they tried to absorb the antimatter weapons. For a brief moment it looked like the shields might hold, then the shields collapsed. The antimatter beams punched through the Velthari energy barriers like they weren't even there. The alien shields that had never been broken by any weapon simply vanished under the human assault. "Direct hits on all targets," Commander Park Hyojin reported. Her voice stayed calm and professional, but her eyes were wide with amazement. "All antimatter beams are on target." The alien ships began to die. One by one, then dozens at a time, then hundreds at once. The Velthari warships exploded into balls of white-hot plasma. The antimatter weapons didn't just destroy the ships, they converted the alien vessel's own matter into pure energy. Dr. Lee Sang-woo watched from Luna as the alien fleet disappeared. Each exploding ship created a miniature star that burned for several seconds before fading away. The darkness of space was filled with brief, brilliant lights. "The shields aren't just failing," Lee reported with wonder in his voice. "The antimatter is converting the ship hulls directly into energy. Complete molecular destruction." The alien commander had time to send one last transmission before his flagship died. His holographic image appeared on human screens for 3 seconds, his black eyes wide with terror and disbelief. "This is impossible. You cannot have such weapons. We are the Velthari. We are—" The transmission cut off as his ship became another expanding ball of plasma. Colonel Bae Soo-jin watched the destruction from her command post near Jupiter. Her screen showed the alien fleet positions updating in real time. Red dots disappeared from the display one after another, faster and faster. Targets eliminated, 1,000. 5,000. 10,000, she counted. "Sir, we're destroying their entire fleet." The antimatter beams fired for exactly 7.3 seconds. In that time, 50,000 alien warships ceased to exist. Ships the size of small moons were reduced to expanding clouds of superheated gas. When the firing stopped, silence fell across the solar system. Where moments before a massive invasion fleet had threatened Earth, now there was nothing but empty space and slowly fading energy signatures. Commander Hyojin ran system checks on her instruments. not quite believing what they were showing. "Sir, all hostile contacts have been eliminated. I'm showing 0 intact enemy vessels." Engineer Nam monitored his fusion reactors as they automatically powered down to normal levels. The weapons had used enormous amounts of energy, but the reactors had barely strained under the load. "All weapon systems cycling down normally," Nam reported. "No damage to any platform. We operated at less than 12% of total capacity." Admiral Deho stared at the tactical display. The screen that had shown 50,000 red enemy contacts now showed empty space. Not a single alien ship remained intact. "Casualty report," he ordered. "0 human casualties, sir," Hyojin replied. "No damage to any Earth installations. All civilian shelters report normal status." On Earth's surface, Captain Kim Min-ho received confirmation that the threat was over. The underground shelters began opening their doors. Millions of people emerged into daylight, not yet understanding what had just happened above their heads. "Sir, should we inform the civilian population?" Lieutenant Choi Yun-soo asked. "Tell them the crisis has passed," Min-ho replied. "Nothing more for now." Dr. Lee began scanning the area where the alien fleet had been destroyed. His instruments searched for any surviving technology, any escape pods, any sign that even one alien had survived. "Complete sterilization," Lee reported. "I'm not detecting any debris larger than 10 meters across. The antimatter weapons didn't leave anything behind." The weapon platforms throughout the solar system began cloaking again. One by one, they faded from view and became invisible to sensors. The orbital stations looked like empty space again. The fake asteroids closed up and returned to looking like normal rocks. Within minutes, humanity's defense network had disappeared back into hiding. To any outside observer, the solar system would look exactly like it had before the battle. Just a few small warships and some basic orbital platforms. Ambassador Yoon Ji-woo sat quietly in her chair at the Orbital Command Center. The woman who had delivered humanity's final warning looked tired but satisfied. "Admiral," she said over the communication link, "please make sure all platforms return to standby mode. I have a feeling word of this will spread quickly through the galaxy." Deho nodded. The Velthari Empire had been expanding across the galaxy for centuries. When their invasion fleet failed to report back, other alien governments would want to know what happened. Engineer Nam sealed his control bunker on Mars and began the process of returning the fusion reactors to their normal, hidden operation. The massive generators would go back to looking like simple mining equipment. Colonel Sujin watched the last traces of alien plasma fade away near Jupiter. The Velthari fleet that had conquered 1,000 worlds had been completely erased from existence in less than 8 seconds. "Sir," she reported to Admiral Deho, "all evidence of the battle is dissipating. In 6 hours, there will be no sign that the alien fleet was ever here." The Terra's shield and the other human warships began returning to their normal patrol routes. The battle was over before most of humanity even knew it had begun. Admiral Deho looked out at the stars through the bridge windows. Somewhere out there, other alien empires would soon learn that Earth was not defenseless. The galaxy was about to discover that humanity had been preparing for this day for 40 years. The message was simple and clear. Earth would never be conquered. 3 days after the Velthari fleet disappeared, the first alien transmission reached Earth. It came from a small trading vessel at the edge of the solar system. The ship's captain spoke in broken English, his voice shaking with nervousness. "Please, humans, we mean no harm. We only wish to trade. We bring gifts of friendship." Ambassador Yoon Ji-woo smiled as she listened to the transmission from her office at the Orbital Command Center. Word was already spreading through the galaxy faster than she had expected. Admiral Kang Deho received similar messages throughout the week. Alien governments that had never bothered to contact Earth were suddenly very interested in establishing diplomatic relations. The tone of their messages was very different from the Velthari's demands. "Admiral," Commander Park Hyojin reported, "we have received formal contact requests from 12 different alien species in the past 2 days. They all want to discuss trade agreements and peace treaties." Dr. Lee, Sang-woo monitored alien communication networks from his station on Luna. The news of the Velthari fleet's destruction was spreading from system to system. Some aliens didn't believe it at first. Others began changing their expansion plans immediately. "Sir, I'm detecting major fleet movements throughout this sector of the galaxy," Lee reported. "Several alien empires are pulling their warships back from human space. They're giving us a much wider border than before." On the planet Zelkor Prime, 300 light-years from Earth, the ruling council met in emergency session. The Zelkori had been planning to expand into human space within the next decade. Those plans were now being quietly cancelled. 50,000 Velthari ships, one council member whispered, destroyed in seconds. How is this possible? It doesn't matter how, replied another. What matters is that the humans clearly want to be left alone. I suggest we respect their wishes. Similar conversations were happening on dozens of worlds throughout the galaxy. Species that had been considering attacks on Earth suddenly found more interesting targets elsewhere. The message was clear. Humanity was not easy prey. Engineer Nam Tae-kyung continued his work on Mars, maintaining the fusion reactors that powered humanity's defense network. His instruments detected alien scout ships approaching the solar system every few days. They stayed far away and left quickly after scanning for human defenses. They're trying to figure out how we did it, Nam told Admiral Daeho during their weekly status meeting. But our cloaking systems are holding. They can't detect the weapon platforms. Colonel Bae Soo-jin noticed changes in alien behavior throughout the entire sector. Her deep space monitoring stations picked up military communications from several alien empires. All of them were discussing the same thing: how to avoid conflict with humanity. Sir, the Kazanti Empire just redirected 3 of their invasion fleets away from our borders, Soo-jin reported. They were heading for the colonies near Alpha Centauri, but now they're moving toward the opposite side of their territory. The Velthari Empire itself was collapsing. Without their main invasion fleet, they couldn't maintain control over their conquered territories. Worlds that had been enslaved for centuries began declaring independence. On the planet Therax 7, former slaves destroyed Velthari monuments and freed prisoners from alien labor camps. The Theraxians had waited 300 years for this moment. Now they sent grateful messages to Earth, thanking humanity for breaking their chains. Captain Kim Min-ho coordinated Earth's response to the flood of alien communications. Most were peaceful, but a few were angry messages from allies of the destroyed Velthari fleet. These were ignored. Sir, should we respond to the threats from the Zorvan Collective? Lieutenant Choi Yun-soo asked. They're demanding we pay compensation for destroying Velthari ships. No response necessary, Min-ho replied. If they want to test our defenses, they're welcome to try. The Zorvan Collective decided not to test anything. Like most of the galaxy, they chose to pretend the incident had never happened. 6 months later, alien trade ships began arriving at the edge of the solar system. They carried goods from across the galaxy, rare metals, advanced computer components, and scientific instruments. All of them wanted to trade with humanity. Ambassador Yoon established formal diplomatic relations with 47 different alien species. The negotiations were polite and respectful. Nobody tried to make demands or issue ultimatums. It's amazing how reasonable everyone becomes when they know you can defend yourself. Yoon commented to Admiral Daeho during a diplomatic meeting. Earth's position in the galaxy had completely changed. Before the Velthari attack, humanity was seen as a minor species on the edge of civilized space. Now Earth was treated as a major power that other governments approached with caution and respect. Dr. Lee studied the long-term effects of humanity's demonstration. Alien expansion had slowed throughout the entire galaxy. Species were being more careful about which worlds they attacked, more willing to negotiate instead of fight. We've changed the balance of power, Lee reported to the Earth Council. Other species are copying our example. They're building hidden defenses and secret weapons. The age of easy conquest is ending. The defense network remained hidden and ready. The orbital platform stayed cloaked near Jupiter and Saturn. The antimatter weapons in the asteroid belt continued looking like ordinary rocks. Humanity kept its secrets and maintained its strength. Admiral Daeho addressed the Earth Council 1 year after the battle. His report was simple and direct. The Sentinel Defense Network has served its purpose. We have demonstrated that Earth cannot be conquered. The galaxy has received the message and adjusted accordingly. What about future threats? Asked one council member. The network remains active and ready, Daeho replied. Any species that threatens Earth will face the same fate as the Velthari fleet. Engineer Nam continued monitoring alien activity from his station on Mars. His sensors detected scout ships and exploration vessels, but no invasion fleets. The alien governments were keeping their distance and focusing on peaceful contact. Sir, I'm picking up transmissions from the far side of the galaxy. Nam reported. Even species that have never heard of Earth are being told to avoid human space. Our reputation is spreading everywhere. Colonel Su Jin smiled as she watched her tactical displays. The space around Earth was busier than ever, but it was filled with trade ships and diplomatic vessels instead of warships. Humanity had won something more valuable than any battle. It had won respect. On Earth's surface, life returned to normal. Most people never learned the details of what had happened in space. They knew there had been an alien threat, and they knew it had been defeated. That was enough. Children played in parks under skies protected by weapons they would never see. Families had dinner while hidden defense platforms watched over them. Students went to school, learning about the galaxy that their species now helped to shape. Ambassador Yoon stood at the window of her office, looking out at Earth below. The blue and green planet looked peaceful and safe, just as it should be. Humanity had earned its place among the stars not through conquest, but through the simple promise that home would always be defended. The message had been sent and received throughout the galaxy. Earth's children were under protection. Anyone who threatened them would face the same fate as the Velthari Empire. The warning would not be given twice.